essentially, it shows that this is capitalism with Chinese characteristics, really, where you have a bit of a tug of war in terms of what the government wants and what capital markets want to do. And what we're seeing is greater interventionist policy into these capital markets, whether it was with Alibaba, which started several months ago, concerns around data privacy with Didi, and now the educational sector. And what we're seeing is the corporate China is having to navigate a more demanding government and regulatory sector. And I think for investors, that proves a little bit more challenging because you don't know which sector could come under greater scrutiny going forward.
Exactly. So how then do you position and trade in markets in the Asia Pacific, particularly when you're looking at China and, of course, one of the biggest, Hong Kong?
Well, I'd say you'd want to focus on those companies and sectors that are leveraged to the economic recovery. So you have some cover there, and also potentially some of those sectors that have come under less regulatory scrutiny in the past few months or quarters, or those sectors in which the government has basically said, not particularly important from a national security perspective.
Cedric, it's Hadley out in Dubai. I mean, think about that from the national security perspective. Obviously, those meetings between U.S. officials and Chinese officials did not go very, very well. Do you anticipate, given the fact that the Biden team has so much to focus on in the coming months, that there'll be any kind of rapprochement there, or are we going to see a continued stalemate?
So there might be some rapprochement, as you mentioned, but I think the long-term trend for relations is for greater tensions to emerge. So as we saw in the meeting several months ago in Alaska, I believe, we saw in the meetings now in Tianjin, they just can't agree on certain basic fundamentals. And we think this is because there's some different areas of tensions which are systemic to the differences in these two superpowers. And these tensions are going to continue to rise over the coming years. And they stem from broad ideological differences, greater industrial competition from Chinese corporates around the world, a growing Chinese military and its influence around the South China Sea, the Pacific Ocean, and elsewhere, and also the changing landscape of geopolitics. And because of this, we think that U.S.-Chinese relations will remain tense in the coming years. And we are essentially walking into a new Cold War.